Hello and good morning, everybody. My name is Ruben Gutierrez, and this is the Jargon podcast. I know it's been a long time since I've posted an episode, but that's just because life really hasn't been too, how should we say, forgiving. Things have been getting extremely crazy, and the world is kind of upside down right now. It's about the same thing as Stranger Things season one, where we are all in the upside down looking into a mirror, wondering when the hell we're going to get out of this. Meanwhile, our actual selves are on the other side, questioning why we are in a global pandemic. And I think that a lot of things that are going on right now are due to extenuating circumstances and things that are kind of out of our control. Like, for instance, bio warfare. I don't want to get too crazy with it now. And I know we haven't really talked in a while, but I'm just hoping that you guys have been taking care of yourselves. I know that I've been mostly silent for about 6 weeks, a month and a half. It's been a long time. And I just want to explain to you guys that no matter what, all I've been thinking about is how to progress, how to be better, and more than anything, how to continue doing the podcast, with everything that's going on. I know that the guests haven't been showing up as they should have, but I got some advice from my friend David, who hosted the event a couple months ago. The event for, like, Looney Tunes and everybody to perform, and a bunch of other artists too, and it was a lot of fun. I brought it up in a previous episode, but I was kind of just venting to him a little bit just because I was stressed out and I didn't really know where to go because I wanted to do the episodes and I wanted to kind of get everything going, but it's just a little difficult and everything like that. And so he kind of just told me straight up, like, hey man, just focus on getting yourself together and focus on building yourself back up so that when you come back out, it'll be all good. And I'm somewhat paraphrasing in my own words what he said, but it pretty much went along those lines. And I've been really taking his advice and everybody else's advice to heart because I see that a lot of people that I do want to work with and a lot of the people that I surround myself with in general have just been really focused on trying to better themselves. I know we're all going through our own struggles, not to be specific on anyone. And I think that it's important for us to realize that now more than ever is the time for us to reach out, and kind of connect and communicate with each other so that we can understand where we're all coming from and have a better conversation and an open discussion on where we want to go from here because everybody's at home now, or at least most people. People are losing their jobs, people are going crazy, people are wondering, paranoid, frantic on what to do. I know that for myself and my job, we expected great things. And, I can't really say if this is a great thing or not. I don't think it's too great, but things have kind of taken a bit of a halt. Things have been slowed down. Business isn't as it should be. People are kind of, being people. And like I was saying, and just going out and in their paranoia, buying everything on the shelves and really just stocking up on what appears to be the end of the world. But I'll tell you right now, the only thing it's the end of is it's the end of a moment because a lot of people think that this stagnation will last forever, when in reality, it only lasts as long as you allow it to. Because most of the people that I talk to, most of the people that I know, are just living their lives as they would want to, whether they're at home or whether they're at work, because it's always about having a plan. Look at yourself and think, do I have a plan for this situation? Can I plan for this? What are my goals? Where do I want to go from here? Now that things are like this, how is it that I'm going to promote myself and grow from here? How is it that I'm going to fix the things that are around me to make it better? And how am I going to keep myself leveled in a situation where the world is on a seesaw and whatever side you're on, whether it's up and down, the crash is coming because it teeters and the weight is clearly not distributed correctly. And in that metaphor, I hope that people realize that what's going on around them is just as important as what's going around within you, because we all have a lot of things that are affecting us and a lot of things that are controlling how we want to live our lives. For instance, the quarantine, the regulations, the lockdown, the curfew, all these things are affecting us. We've got Italy, who's on a full lockdown. A nuke practically dropped there, a bio nuke, so to speak, because of how the disease spread so fast. And yet, at the same time, you see so much love and support from everybody and in their own surroundings as they all come together and sing songs and just have a good time and also do a lot of frivolous other things. But in anyways, in other terms, it's good to see that a lot of the people that I know around me are still moving forward and still trying to take care of themselves. And it's interesting how at my job there's been quite a divide because you have people who are going to work and who are still acting not as if everything's normal, but acting as if they still have a responsibility to take care of themselves and the people around them, their families, their loved ones, the important people. And then you have the other half who are just avoiding work and everything else like the situation that it is, a literal plague, and they're staying home, they're sick, they're doing whatever. I personally think that they're doing whatever they have to do to protect themselves. I do not think it's smart to go to work at all because it's serious. I have a friend of mine who, Brian, who I eventually want to get on here as well, as a substance, counselor and stuff like that. His friend got what is it? Contracted the virus, and now he has COVID-19, and he's experiencing these symptoms that are going on. And he's like, not only the fact that obviously it's real, but the fact that it's like it's not just something that you'll get over in a moment. Like it's a debilitating sickness that is affecting him personally, and he can't even get out of bed. There's tons of people who are dying at various ages. A lot of people were saying that it's just the elderly people that are going to die. Yet we see so many people within their 20s and 30s passing, and it's stressful. It's scary to look at because I know a lot of people my age and my age group were in our late 20s and entering our 30s at this point, and for a lot of us, we're kind of just like, well, I guess nobody's safe, you know, nobody. And I think that's what's important about taking care of ourselves and being smart. And you know, in some ways it's kind of like another wake up call for ourselves, kind of like, even as advanced and as futuristic as we are, we got to stay clean and we got to make sure that we are covered and protect ourselves. But yeah, that's pretty much how about as far as I wanted to go into it with the COVID situation, only because everybody has been covering COVID, and not just that. Me myself, I haven't really been, out there too much. I'm kind of like a hermit in terms of like social media, where I'll post whenever I feel like it, and I'll kind of like be out there. But I'm really always trying to grind and work on myself, behind the scenes. And I think that a lot of us are like that, but I think I have a responsibility for myself and a lot of us too to use the platform that we have to kind of spread awareness and just be mindful of each other. Keep pushing that positivity and keep pushing that growth no matter what. And don't ever think that your voice doesn't matter, and don't ever think that the people around you don't want to hear what you got to say. At least give them the opportunity to tell you to shut the fuck up. At least give them the opportunity to, tell you what they think before you decide for yourself whether it's important or not, because I think a lot of us kind of hold back on what we want to say and hold back on how we want to be because of the people around us. But I've also seen so many of my own colleagues and the people around me kind of just express themselves purely and in hopes of getting a better understanding between one another and between different groups. And it's a sign of respect too, because at the end of the day, at least where I'm at and in my life, is you don't really have arguments anymore. You have more discussions, um, conversation. I mean, arguments obviously still exist, but it's more about the discourse. It's more about understanding where they're coming from so that you get a better understanding from their perspective, and then they have a better understanding from your perspective. And I think communication, sorry about all the hiccups. I'm just excited, it's been a little bit since I've done one of these an episode that you call it. And I'm just really excited to be back out here because I know that I said in my other series that I want to make an episode every week, and then I disappear for 6 weeks, and it's like, well, what happened to that dream? And like most dreams, I woke up and decided that I think it's better for myself if I come back out at a moment in time where I am mentally acute and at the same time personally available. And what that means for me is that I want to be able to come out and I want to be able to talk to you guys as myself, not as someone who's pretending to be a certain way for the sake of the podcast or for the sake of you guys. Because I know I'm not 100% right now, but that's irrelevant. What I need to make sure that I am is being honest and make sure that I'm telling you guys how I feel, and I'm telling you guys how other people are feeling through my own eyes and what the world looks like, at least from my perspective right now, until I get someone else or I start developing split personalities. But for the most part, I am really excited to be back out here. And anyways, going back to the whole communication aspect of it and just being more open, I see that now with my own job. And the thing that's interesting for myself is seeing essentially the experience that I've been looking for and seeing it in a more in-depth way because I've been gone or you guys haven't really heard from me in about a month and a half, but the skills and the people that I'm around and the experience that I'm gaining is, exponential and it's great. And at the same time, I'm starting to see these little layers of things and these layers of people that not that I've never seen before, but that are so open. It's like when you have I guess I'll just break it down in terms of how I see it. So we all have levels of personality that I guess you can say, or a spectrum of personality that we express with others. And it all depends on how we're feeling and who we're around, right? So if the right most direction um is your true personality, like the person that you believe that you are, and then all the way on the left is the personality that is for protection, like that form of yourself where you're like guarded and you don't really want to have a conversation with anyone. And in the middle is a fine balance between you being who you want to be and at the same time being aware of your surroundings. I guess you can call that the balance, right? In terms of that personality spectrum. And what I've seen is kind of like a flip side of that where you have these people that kind of come into the store and the people that you work with have this spectrum where they start off as always in a state of denial. And in that abstract form, I mean that they are always lying about what they're talking about truthfully. And if that doesn't make much sense, it pretty much means to, I guess, bring it down to another level, is that everything that they say is not what they're thinking. Everything that they say is how they want to say what they're thinking, depending on the person that they're talking to. And so, for example, if you're working with a customer and they want a certain car with these certain features, and they have a couple of objections. They're like, I want this, but I don't like that. I don't like this, but it's not a deal breaker, but I like that. You bring it up to them and they kind of give you some advice. And the advice that they give you will pertain more to who you are and the customer rather than what's going on and the customer. Because what I guess they're trying to influence is a mindset that grasps what it means to articulate an idea to someone in a matter that is persuasive to them. Because when you describe and when you express yourself to people, it's mostly about the delivery in the beginning. And then once you reel them in, then it's about the content of what you're saying. And so once you've got the content down, now it's all about the understanding. And that part is now up to them. That's when it's in their hands. And in that same example that I have is kind of like how we express ourselves and how we talk to these customers. And sometimes you get people that, you could just be upfront with like, hey, this, that, bada bing, bada boom. And they're like boom, bop, bow. And that's it. It's as simple as that. The gibberish that I just used is pretty much that's how simple it is. Yeah, I like it. Oh, okay, boom, done. And you get them people like that. And then sometimes you get people who just sometimes you get people who think that the whole world is out to get them. Like they walk into the store, they think everybody's trying to destroy me and take everything from me. So I'm gonna make sure I take it back. And they come in here with this bravado, with this ego of, oh no, you ain't gonna play me. And it's like, sir, ma'am, you're playing yourself because I'm not playing you. This is what it is. It's clear cut and dry. And they're like, nope, that's soft, wet, and slick. I do not want it. Like what? I don't know, man. I don't think you really know what's going on. And then just like that, it creates this level of confusion where they think that we are out to get them and we think that they are crazy and there's not really much of an understanding or a level playing field because something that I've at least experienced is that at least for myself, I'm an adaptive person. Every time and in everything I do, I'm always learning and adapting and trying to basically understand my surroundings to fit in my own way, of course, because I'm not just gonna like, what I'm saying, I'm not like a puzzle piece where I just kind of like take the form and shape of the space that I trying to encompass. I become the space I want to encompass and then get put into the puzzle anyways. but in but in another way, what I'm trying to say is that in this adaptiveness, I have become as my position dictates, where I'm always negotiating everything. I went to Walmart the other day and I was like, "Hey man, this milk is like $4. Can I get this for 250?" And they looked at me like, "Our best price is on the wall." Like, like best price, man. Milk is $5. I need to get this for 250. Or I'll be going to Chipotle or like some other food spots, and all I'm thinking about is how can I get this price lower? How can I work with them? How can I negotiate? And it's like this ain't the 1500s anymore. Nobody's negotiating prices at at Publix or KFC or Chick-fil-A, Chick-fil. It's just straight clear cut, and I think the funniest thing and why a lot of us at this job, at a car dealership, they always stress like having fun. And I try to do that for myself to always try to have some fun. And I say that because we are professionals, but at the same time, it really is a game. And for me, I think life is a game. We're all playing and we're all either you're having a good time or you drop the remote. Either way, you need to pick it up and start pressing the right buttons and hitting them combos, or else you gon' be you don't get knocked. But anyways, life really is a game, at least to me, and I think that it's a lot of fun when you play it your way, when you play it strategically from the aspect that every game has rules, and what your job is to live your life within those rules, and in a way find a loophole to live through your rules and your own guidelines, while still understanding that there is a bubble, a global bubble set of rules and regulations that differ depending on what part of the globe you're on. But understanding that and working that into your own cognitive understanding really helps you, and kind of, I think, makes you what you would call an expert player in this game. Because the thing is that a lot of people that play, or like that are pro gamers, stuff like that, will use the game's mechanics to their advantage. And in the same way, we should all use life's rules and challenges to our advantage, to make it so that we come out on top no matter what situation, to make sure that we bounce back and push forward through all this bullshit. You know what I mean? But also through all the people and kind of trials that we sometimes put ourselves in front of, and trials that sometimes come upon us in their own unique ways. So yeah, that's pretty much how it's been feeling at work, and how that kind of idea of communication and at least understanding and personalities kind of play into it. Because going back to that whole spectrum idea, it's interesting how they react to us, and how I'm learning that in a way a lot of these people aren't really being facetious or wanting to be liars, but everybody in their own way is guarded, and everybody in their own way is playing to their strength. And like a game, we should have fun with it. And that's really the whole main point of that idea, is that we should have fun with this. And the reason we should have fun with this is because people are coming in here trying to play us because they think this is how the business is. When the business has really changed a lot from how it used to be, where a bunch of scam artists were just ripping people off and stuff like that. But think about it. Even then, even back then, where people were getting ripped off and all this other stuff, people were still living, people were still paying their bills, people were still going through their life and going through the motions. It's not like in America and everywhere else, like car dealers like destroyed the economy. You know what I mean? It wasn't like that. But in terms of morality and perspective, where do you place yourself? Where do you lie? What type of person is it that you want to be? And I think those are the more important personal questions that come from, and the idea of being in this type of industry. Because I know a lot of people think that it's just cutthroat and savage and everybody hates each other, when really, we kind of like a little family, and we work together to help each other out. And sometimes there's BS and sometimes there's problems, and we argue sometimes, but that's okay. We all do that. It's just that in a job like this where it's sales and it's competitive, it's a lot more of that. And it's a lot more, I guess, mental fighting or mental battles than it is at other jobs. Whereas, working at like fast food or working in an office, stuff like that, where you have a role to play and you have a job to do. It's a little different than that, and it's a lot more flexible and abstract. And so that's what kind of gets you going and gets you excited and motivated to do things. Because when you're working with these people and you get all these ideas and you get these different characters that come into play, you can yourself become a character, and you kind of like have this stage to play on. And one of our new managers, he's kind of like that. So he won a Tony Award for a play that he did in Broadway. And he's pretty chill, but really not. He's kind of like a he's kind of like an old. No, he's not kind. He is an old man. I won't really name his name because I don't want to be specific like that. Obviously, I don't want to put him out there. I just want to be more use him as an example. But he's just very aggressive. He's always in the attack position, and he's always pushing his own mindset. But that's just who he is as a person. And when you push back from that, or when you shy away from it, you lose the opportunity to gain and to grow from it because he's that's just how he is. Like you reacting differently than how you would usually react to somebody acting like that hinders you, not him, because he's always going to come at you like that. He's always going to come at you in a strong and in a very personable way. But at the same time, he's always trying to help. It's just that's how his attitude is, and that's how his mindset is. And he's always talking about how this job is a stage and all that stuff, which we've all learned in our training. But he really brings it more into focus because of what he was doing before and how he really understands how it is to be an actor because he himself is an actor in this job where he's acting as a manager and playing his role because he knows what it is that he has to do to get everybody else to be on ball, to play the game, to forget that they're playing a game and realize that this is the roles and these are this is the script that you have to follow and kind of like getting yourself away from that. Because I think that the worst thing that you can ever hear as a salesman is, you're such a great salesman. I can't believe it. You're oh my gosh, you're so amazing, or all this other random nonsense, random compliments that you get, but then they don't buy from you. I think that has to be one of the worst feelings, at least I've ever felt, because it kind of tells you it's as if you're playing a demo of a video game, since we're talking about games, or you go to a restaurant and you try some food and you're like, damn, this food is so good. Delicious. Yo, this demo is amazing. I love this game. But would you buy it? No, of course not. I'd never buy this food. That game, nah, it's too expensive, man. $60. I'm not gonna buy that. No way. Nah, it's not for me. I appreciate it and I love the demo. It's a really great thing that you're doing. I hope you pursue this in your career and I hope everything goes well. But I am now gonna support you. And it's like, well, what the hell? But at the end of the day, and in a flip side, everybody still has their own aspects, their own budgets, their own concerns, and their own responsibility to maintain their lifestyle, however it is that they want to do it. And so, them telling me something like that doesn't really make it so that I'm not doing my job. It's more just a lot of factors that come into play. But at the end of the day, you know, come what may, if you didn't make a sale, you didn't make a sale. And if you did, you did. Like one of my other coworkers says, it's a lot of fun. He says it all the time: is sell a car, be a star. Because I think one thing that is pretty cool as well is that we all have this idea that you did really good today. All right, well, let's do it tomorrow too. You did really good yesterday. Well, what about today? Oh, you're not doing so well today. Well, then you're not doing so well. Period. Because it's all about being consistent and living in the moment. Truly, because yesterday you could have done really well, but what about today? What about today? You might do well tomorrow, but what about today? Something that was interesting that one of, I guess you can call him an acquaintance, but we used to play pool together a lot because I used to go to his house. This is where Carlos used to live at a friend's house named Evie, and one of my other friends, Chris, used to live there too. And we used to play pool with them all the time and hang out. And something that he always said that kind of stuck with me because I agreed with is that when you're playing pool, or I guess in general, when you're in I guess in a more general sense, whenever you make a move, he's always like, "But what's your next move?" Plan 2 steps ahead. Like, okay, that was a pretty good shot, but what about your next one? What are you gonna do next? What's the next thing you're gonna do? And it's always a thinking like that kind of helps you get into the motion of staying ahead of yourself and making sure that wherever you slip up, wherever you think you might fail at, you've got your future self has yourself covered so that you can make sure to cover your weaknesses and bounce back and come back on top 100%. And so that's kind of like what's been going on with the job. Now, the big stuff, music. Since I know that I want this to be about motivation and music and artists, stuff like that, let me tell you something. Culture Fest just happened a couple weeks ago. It was super hype. A lot of the local artists here performed, and for instance, Trixella, some of the other Looney Tune cast also performed as well. I've also been into talks with Lil Wave in terms of making like maybe some work happen there. So definitely get hyped because we're going to be coming up with a lot more stuff to kind of bring to the table. Um, but in terms of music, at least what I've been listening to lately, good God, so many albums have come out that are just absolutely amazing. One of the albums that came out before, while I was still doing these episodes and everything like that, the Roddy Rich album, Antisocial, or, Sorry for Being Antisocial, is really good. I haven't listened to it fully, but I do like it. Lil Uzi's album, my God, I've been listening to that shit nonstop. It's just so good. I'm surprised no one really likes it or has been talking about it. I mean, some of my friends like it, but that's pretty much it. No one else I really have heard anything. No one's really been talking about it. But another album that's really really good that I've been hearing a lot about is The Weeknd's. I've heard about half of that. I've also listened to some of the female artists, which is pretty awesome too. Like Megan Thee Stallion dropped her EP. It was a banger. I'm gonna talk a little bit about her album just because before I talk about the others, just because I know that a lot of women are taking a lot of inspiration from her, and I think that's amazing because this EP was definitely a great way to express how I guess women see themselves and how they see the player life in their own aspect and how they want to carry themselves, because I think from the beginning to the end she kind of expresses the whole cycle of how it feels to be in a relationship and to be a boss ass bitch, and then to go back and kind of reflect and see that you're still a human being and you still have feelings, and although you want to be the certain type of person, at the end of the day you are who you are, and that's okay. And we all kind of go through these motions, so let's keep banging out and let's keep making sure that we feel like we're on top, and we keep our goals in front of us and focus, and at the same time to have that sense of value for yourself that a lot of women I think maybe don't have, that sense of yes I'm important, yes I belong, and yes I matter. And I think those are really important, and those qualities are apparent in her album. I listened to it the whole way through when I was doing a dealer trade, which is pretty much, long story short, when you're going to pick up a car from another dealership and you're trading one for the other. And while I was listening to it, I was just like, yo, this is a banger. And I'm not really too into a female artist, but like that, for instance. And when I say like that, I mean all the time. Like, I guess I have some female artists that I like to listen to, but there's not really too many. Although I do love vocal trance when it's a female. Man, that shit is, it's amazing. But anyways, so yeah, her album was really good. And then Gene Aiko's album, whoo, that shit was fire from start to finish. I was like, damn, no wonder everybody's obsessed with this girl. Like, yo, this album was straight killer. Trying to Smoke is definitely probably my favorite song. If not, the intro is probably my favorite as well, where she's just like harmonizing or serenading, I guess. She's maybe getting like her voice ready. It almost feels like, in terms of like how an album is like a script or like something, like a put together project. It's like she started off like just getting herself ready to start singing this whole album, and it was just really good. And now towards the albums that I have been listening to. So Lil Uzi's album as a whole is just amazing. The whole little story that he's got going on is dope. The lyrics are dope too. My favorite song is definitely Celebration Station, just because for me, it hits all those notes of being. Actually, me and my friend Jason were talking about this. It's like it has this ambiance to it, and this kind of like feel good vibes. And that's, I'm all about vibes and just having a good time and feeling good. And so for me, that song is just next level because I can always play it and I can just be having a good time and I can jam to it. And then the song right after that, Bigger Than Life, just they coincide so well. And what's great is that he kind of like made every song blend in together, which, a lot of artists do. And I always give props to Kid Cudi for In a Kid Named Cudi, which I believe was a mixtape, if not was his first album. But it's just been a long time, so I forget. But A Kid Named Cudi is just, that's kind of how it flows, and it's just so good. And Kid Cudi, is just a great artist, especially his previous works are really great too. Definitely what skyrocketed him to where he is now. And yeah, so the whole album as a whole is good. Part two, P2, which is the second, I guess you can say the second part of XO Life Tour, is really good. It kind of like talks about how he is moving on and transitioning from how he felt to how he's feeling now. And at the end of it, he thanks everybody for listening to the album and stuff like that. And then there's a couple bonus tracks, and then he dropped a deluxe edition, which is really good too. So I definitely suggest you check out the deluxe edition and just listen to it the whole way through because he's got a lot of features on it. It's really good. He's got like some tribute songs there as well. Overall, it's really good. Jay Electronica dropped an album as well. I haven't gotten to listen to it yet, even though I should. Miguel, my bad. That is on me. I should definitely be on that. Um, but yeah, I really like that one. Let's see what other one. Oh yeah, the Weekend album. So the Weekend album is pretty good. I'm not gonna really be specific on too many songs just because I want you guys to know, at least from an outlook standpoint, it's a lot better. And he's in a I it sounds like he's in a lot better place than he was, and I'm glad for that because Dear Melancholy was it was just hard to listen to because for me, I started on the Weekend during the Trilogy era, and during the Trilogy era, yeah, that whole Trilogy album just pops off all those 30 plus songs and just straight savagery. That's what I was about. Like, yo, Weekend just kill that shit. But Dear Melancholy was something else. That was pain, and I understand pain, and it was just hard to listen to, which is why it's not one of my favorites. But it's definitely good. It's just not one of my favorites. So when he dropped this, when he dropped Heartless and everything just kind of like flowed together, I think that it was just really good. And I think that what the direction that he's going, at least right now, I think that he's definitely working out his issues. Oh my bad, it's called After Hours. Sorry about that. And I think that he's just working himself out. Heartless is one of the singles on there. My bad. I know I'm just talking kind of fast. I'm just excited and at the same time. I want to get as much possible out, just because I am still extremely busy. And I still want to be able to find time to make longer episodes. But right now, this is about like the max length that I can go. So I just want to leave you guys with a little tidbits. And first of all, I want to give a shout out to the boy Roy, one of my mom's coworkers, who has just been a fan since day one. And I want to give you a shout out. I want to thank you for listening every week, or for the past episodes. And I want to thank you for listening to this episode. And I just want you to know that you, as well as everyone else who listens, are important. And I hope that next time that I meet you, because I ended up meeting him when I came back from a trip from New Jersey, but it was just so quick and I was so busy because as soon as I got off the plane, I had to go to work. So I was like, I had like a 20-minute interval and I had to ride the bus and everything. And it was just a whole big thing. And so when I met him, I was like, hey, what's up, bro? It's nice to meet you. But I didn't really get to talk to him. I wasn't able to be like, hey, man, how's it going? What do you think about the podcast? How you think about life? How's everything going for you? Do you need any advice? Maybe you want to just talk to me. Here's my number. I wasn't able to do any of that. I was kind of just like, hey, what's up, man? Yo, how's everything? You like that podcast? Hey, that's what's up. Dope. Shh. And then I just double dipped out of there. And in my own way, I guess being reflective, I was like, damn, it's not really how I would have wanted it to go. But it's how it went, and I think that's okay. Now, I just have a quote here that I guess I wanna tell everyone, just something to kind of leave you guys with, is that, we're not just men or women with ambition. We're also children with wonder and interest in the little things, in the moments we take for granted, and the ideas that always bloom in the dark. I hope you guys always think about what it means for yourselves to take it to the next level, to evolve, to transform, whatever it is, and whatever words that are put into place in your own mind that create that idea of the future for yourself. Because at the end of the day, no matter what's going on and no matter all this stuff that's happening, be strong and be proud to be who you are. Because no one can take it from you. And nobody else can be you in this world. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. And one more thing is the release of Final Fantasy VII Remake. Yeah, video game time, real quick, speed run. Okay, so Final Fantasy VII Remake is coming out, but more importantly, the remake should feature my boy, who I will not name in case you never played it before, because it's gonna be something hype in the game. But anyways, my boy should be showing up, and I just want to let y'all know my favorite Japanese anime music song ever, 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 still to this day. It's called The Price of Freedom. And if you want, go ahead, go listen to it. Um, if you notice a character in the background, don't worry about it. He'll eventually be revealed. And if you already know who I'm talking about, then more hype to you because you know the truth. But, anyways, The Price of Freedom. Greatest song I've ever heard in my life in terms of Japanese media. And there's another song I like called "Night Fishing Is Good" by Sakana Action, which is really good too. But which I also recommend you go take a listen to. It's like a 7 minute song. They kind of like, I guess, in their own producer aspect, they were like, "Hey, this song is essentially the equivalent to Queen's what is it? Bohemian Rhapsody." And I was like, that's a bit of a stretch. Bit of a stretch, but it is a good song though. It is a good song, so I definitely recommend you listen to it. But Price of Freedom, the reason I bring this up and I want to have a little segment about it is because the Price of Freedom, that song, encompasses everything about what it means to sacrifice for what you believe, to give your all 100%, to open up and bear everything that you have against this world. That is what that song is about. And it fills me with so much passion and energy because that song has been my anthem for so long because it's everything that I am. Because I want not only to be free and to live the life the way I want to. I want you all to be free. And I want you all to understand that you have the capabilities to lead the life that you want without anybody telling you otherwise or anybody holding you back. If anything, you'll have people pushing you forward because we all know what the price of freedom is. Sometimes it just takes a little bit to understand what it's all about. And so I'll leave you with that and with the hype of a new episode coming out and with the hype of future content from so many people. Because in this quarantine, there's been some great stuff and there's been some other stuff. And there's been some time for you guys to spend with your families that you guys have never really maybe had or have really experienced. And maybe in this time, it gives you a little bit more insight into how the people around you may have changed now that you have to spend more time with them. So once again, I want to thank everybody who's been listening, and I want to thank you all for taking the time to listen to this episode. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you later. Ruben Hood is once again on his way to the next episode and to the next opportunity to find more answers. So you guys have a great day. Much love to you all. Stay up, and I'll see you next time. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Yeah.